you, Dr. Cholak. At this time, I'd like to welcome Shoshana Bekerman, the Director of the Parliamentary Coalition for Global Ethics, and the person responsible for putting this together today, to say a few concluding remarks.
Thank you very much. We're co-partners with UNESCO, and as you know, the host mission Italy. I always like to begin on this initiative with the preamble to the Constitution of UNESCO, which declares that since wars begin in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that defenses of peace must be constructed. So our initiative basically is trying to fill a gap in the current global compass. So far in the United Nations, and as defined by the Constitution of UNESCO, the purpose of the organization is to contribute to peace and security by promoting collaboration among nations through education, science, and culture in order to further universal respect for justice, for the rule of law, for human rights and fundamental freedoms which are affirmed for the peoples of the world without distinction of race, sex, language, or religion by the Charter of the United Nations. But since the establishment of the United Nations, there have been many resolutions and many initiatives that have called for the culture of peace. The patron of the Interparliamentary Coalition for Global Ethics, whom you've heard, His Excellency Professor Federico Mayor, actually introduced the concept of the culture of peace to the United Nations when he was Director General of UNESCO. And since that time, there has only been one nation that has actually initiated legislation for the culture of peace, and that was Spain. We have taken upon ourselves the initiative, hopefully with additional UN member states, to bring parliamentarians together who are committed to also institute and at least initiate in their national parliaments such legislation. I will quote from the Spanish law, which was accepted in 2005, and under the administration of Prime Minister Zapatero, who was also one of the initiators of the Alliance of Civilizations. You heard today from the representative of the Alliance of Civilizations. This law I'm quoting a little bit from this law, acknowledging the absolute decisive role of education as a driver of evolution of societies in the framework of the International Decade for a Culture of Peace, which took place 2001 to 2010, proclaimed by the United Nations, aims to provide a starting point from which to replace the culture of violence, which has defined the 20th century, with a culture of peace, which must characterize the new century. The culture of peace is comprised of all values, behaviors, attitudes, practices, feelings, and beliefs, which ultimately shape peace. Today we've heard from basically the Abrahamic faiths, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. There are also representatives here of the Buddhist faith, and we have a lot to learn from the Eastern religions, which are based on the culture of peace. Legislation which we hope will be accepted in all the parliaments of the UN member states at the end of this initiative will include the elements, hopefully, of all the religions, and because we all have what to learn from each other, and respect for all religions and all races. I'll quote a little bit more from this Spanish law. In order to achieve the above peace goals, the government is to promote the teaching of subjects at all levels of the education system in accordance with the values which characterize a culture of peace, and the creation of specialist subjects on the issue relating to education for peace and democratic values. Is to promote the inclusion of initiatives relating to education for peace in the local and national education curriculum, and combine teaching with education system with the promotion of education for peace for everyone and for life by training adults in the above values. It is one of the major goals here is to encourage, from the point of view of peace, the incorporation of values of nonviolence, tolerance, democracy, solidarity, and justice in the context of textbooks, teaching and educational materials, and audiovisual programs aimed at students. Today we know, this was again accepted in 2005, and Spain is the only country that has such a law in place. Today we know that social media plays a great role, and any new law that will be developed will have to deal with this. So towards the future, we are looking to develop sort of a prototype or a model legislation which can then be adapted to the particular and circumstances of each nation. But hopefully, at the end of this process, maybe the world will be a little bit more peaceful and a little bit more respectful, and we'll be able to combat violent extremism together with the United Nations, but reach a concrete level of activities. So thank you very much to all the speakers who came from quite far, and also maybe some of you at the last minute. Thank you to all the participants, and we hope you'll help follow up with us to make this a reality in the future. Thank you very much.